And we're back, folks. Welcome back to Slay the Princess with me, Cornish-knight. And, well, the last episode, we cut off the prince's head and took her out, and she seemed to be alive still. And then this happened when we're standing before the mirror again, so we all know by this point what's going to happen.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
Of course, you're scared. This is the end for you, but not the end for me. It's going to be okay, just trust me. We've been here before. You always get scared.
But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything.
You're right. Part of me wants the truth, but something stronger is holding me back. Fear.
It's not the end. Whatever's on the other side is going to be nice. It's the end for you, but not for me. I'll see you on the other side. It's going to be okay. Let's go with that one.
What is that supposed to mean? Whatever awful thing I felt before, it feels so much worse now.
No, that can't be right. There has to be something more.
Approach the mirror. You approach the mirror. Gaze into your reflection. The silence as you reach forward, they're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave, but you need to see what's in it. Oh boy, that's worse. You're withered. You've withered. You find yourself in the long quiet once again. You're at the cabin.
I am a growing chorus of contradiction, a mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at any one is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again. All of me is changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same.
You can't be a contradiction. Contradictions don't exist. How can you stand to be a contradiction? It doesn't matter how many times you go back. At least one of us always hurts the other. Doesn't that change you? Doesn't that make you worse?
It changes me, but it doesn't make me worse, nor does it make me care for you any less. Does it make you worse? Do you resent me?
If anything, it makes me like you more. I don't know what that says about me. No, not really. It all seems so distant as soon as I'm near you. I have no option one way or another on the matter. I just want all of this to stop. Yes, you're torturing me, and I hate it. I think I hate you. So this is the neutral option by the looks of it. I just want it all to stop. Let's go with that one. It's either that one or this one. No, not really. It seems so distant as soon as I'm near you. Let's go. I just want it all to stop.
It will, in time. But you still have a ways to go before we are done. Know that I hold no malice for you.
Can't be a contradiction. Contradictions don't exist.
And yet my waters flow and my streets bustle. There are no words that can describe me into non-existence. There is no logic that can bind my multitudes. I am everything that you have known me to be, but I am also none of it.
What do you think of this vessel?
This one is cold and cynical. She has protected herself when others could not. She will make for a clever heart. Do not mourn her. She doesn't need to be protected any longer.
Okay. How can you stand to be a contradiction?
As easily as you can stand to be you. You are like me, even if you have chosen not to look at the corners of you that do not fit. Even if you have chosen to ignore the brilliant contours of your soul.
Okay. Not going to go that one. Do you know what happens to the worlds we leave behind?
My perspectives are shadowed. You have seen what I have seen, just as I have seen what you have seen. The angles of my vantage do not offer me hidden truths, and my attention is turned inward, except when you are here with me. Perhaps this will change when our work is done.
Have you figured out what you want when we're finished?
The desires of my multitude thrive in endless competition with themselves, but none of them rise above their dance to influence me. I yearn for what I have always yearned for, our awakening. Other desires shrink in the light of knowing you and knowing me.
Okay. How many more
We
vessels?
will know when we near our destination. I care about your gifts, but I have no preferences to burden you with. Even if I did, I would never dare to tarnish our relationship by assuming myself above you.
Let's go this one.
The tides do not dictate where they are pulled. A river does not dictate its outlets. My gift to you is to let you choose your path, and my task is to treasure the gifts you bring me.
I'm ready to go back.
I will be here when it is time for us to meet again.
Everything goes dark and you die. Got an achievement, the gracious
You're on
vessel.
a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Okay, the end of the world you're talking about. Have you considered that maybe any reason she's going to end the world is because we locked her up? Killing the princess seems a bit bad. Can someone else do this? Forget it. I'm not doing this. Do I get a reward of some sort for doing this?
Yes, but you'll have to slay her before you get it.
Can you tell me what my prize is going to be for doing a good job? Nah. Let's just go with, okay, fine. Thanks for telling me what to do, sweet. I've always wanted to offer monarchy. Vive la revolution. Silently continue to the cabin. Let's go with that one.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
See to the cabin.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Okay, let's take the blade.
You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it.
And enter the basement.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favour. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Continue down the stairs. Let's try to do this in silence and see what
You're
happens.
still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
Let's see. What? No. Why would I even say that? Okay, yeah, you caught me. I'm here to slay you. Nah. I haven't decided yet. I'm just here to talk. Steel your nerves and step forward. Let's go with that one.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
Oh? No talking then? Fine. What even makes you think you can kill me? I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this.
Let's see, isn't bluffing once he kills us.
You go into this expecting to die. You're going to...
Hesitating? Why don't you drop the knife and the two of us can be civilized with each other?
Slay the princess.
You charge the princess, blade trembling in your hand, but you've already lost the battle. She casually sidesteps your thrust before knocking you to the ground with a single blow from her elbow.
We shouldn't have hesitated.
But she doesn't stop there. She kicks you a few times for good measure, the pointed tip of her shoes feeling like a pickaxe against your fracturing bones, making sure you stay down. As you lie, crushed and broken on the basement floor, the princess kneels on your throat with the kind of weight you didn't think her slight frame could possibly possess. As you gasp for air, she eyes you with an intense curiosity. You shouldn't have let that fear creep into your heart. You had the upper hand, and now look at you.
Is this really the best you could do? Look at you. Completely broken. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed.
She applies more pressure, slowly squeezing what's left of your life out of your lungs.
This is the end, isn't it?
I'm afraid it is.
Everything goes dark, and you die.
Man, that was a bad way to go. The tower.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Let's go with... But I died. What am I doing here? You could go with I have a terrible sense of deja vu. Let's go with that one.
A terrible sense of deja vu? No, you don't have that. This is the first time either of us have been here.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me.
What does it matter what he knows? There's nothing we can do to stop her. She's just going to kill us again.
She is not going to kill you unless you let her. But slaying the princess and saving the world is going to be much more difficult than it has to be if you spend the whole time second-guessing yourself.
1 second, folks. This is more than just deja vu. I'm pretty sure this whole thing literally just happened.
It hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it. We've just met for the first time, you and I.
Proceed to the cabin.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
We might as well just pledge ourselves to her and stop pretending we're capable of doing anything in this situation. She probably doesn't even need to try to overpower us.
Can we tone down the pessimism just a smidge?
I'm not being a pessimist. I'm just being realistic.
You're being annoying. Just ignore their bickering, and whatever you do, don't pledge yourself to her. I cannot stress enough how absolutely catastrophic that would be for everyone, yourself included. I agree. If she's wrongfully imprisoned, then we should rescue her, but if he's telling the truth, we shouldn't just hand her the world on a silver platter. Rescue her? Given the stakes of the situation, there isn't really a difference between rescuing her and pledging yourself to her. Either would be terrible. So please try to ignore both of those knuckleheads and focus on saving the world. Let's not make this harder than it has to be.
Proceed to the
If that's
cabin.
what you want, I guess I don't have a say here.
So up we go.
The interior of the cabin is larger and more grandiose than its humble exterior would suggest. The only furniture of note is a massive marble altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Why do we feel so small? We don't feel small. We are small.
Saying about the mirror.
That's because there isn't a mirror. There's the altar, the blade sitting on the altar, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't.
Who cares if there's a mirror? We're all going to die anyway. And I'm sure that if we looked in there, we'd just see something sad and miserable looking back at us. We don't need any reminders of what we are. It would only make things worse.
For the last time, you're not going to die unless you let it happen. And luckily for you, there isn't a mirror, so no one needs to worry about confronting a grisly visage any time in the near future. Though, for what it's worth, if there were a mirror, I'm sure that you wouldn't find anything sad or miserable in it looking back at you. You probably look perfectly normal. Probably. Do you not know what we look like?
He knows. He just doesn't have the heart to tell us.
Approach the mirror.
You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now.
We should count ourselves lucky. Some things are better left unseen.
Okay, take the blade.
You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon.
Enter the basement.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a spiral staircase. Its steps almost as deep as you are tall. The smell of incense drifts up from below. For a moment, you almost feel at ease.
This is actually kind of nice.
It's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favour. Her booming voice rolls up the stairs.
Is that a guest I hear? Don't linger on the stairs. Come down and witness me.
You weren't kidding when you said it was booming. She wasn't like this last time.
We need to get down there. She wants us to see her. We need to see her. Should we be worried about your sudden change in attitude? Just a few minutes ago you were going on about how pointless everything was. Now you want to go down there. It doesn't matter what that little voice says. He's not the one making the decisions. Though if his ramblings get you to the princess, they get you to the princess. Making your way down the spiral staircase is a time-consuming and exhausting effort, every step requiring you to clamber over one edge before dropping to the next. But soon the end comes into view, and you tumble to the bottom, entering the vast, temple-like room beyond. The princess towers over you, almost glowing in the weak starlight, her figure framed by a stained glass window. Her long hair billows around her, and a chain binds her wrist to the far wall.
The chain is nothing to her. It might as well be a toy for all the good it would do. I told you it was pointless to resist her.
The little bird has returned to me. I wonder what he wants. You've brought that knife again, even though you know it's useless. Such charming audacity. Drop it!
Tighten your grip. Drop it. Yeah, let's drop it. Let's see what happens.
The blade slips from your fingers and clatters uselessly to the floor.
We didn't have to do that.
And yet you did.
She's so much more than us. You wouldn't understand what it feels like to be in her presence.
Oh, I understand what's going on, and you'd better snap yourself out of it.
Kneel!
Kneel. Yeah, let's kneel.
On her command, you fall to the floor, knees painfully connecting with hard stone.
That's my good little bird. Now, why don't we talk? The last time we met, you couldn't even scratch me. And yet here you are again, trying to succeed where you've already catastrophically failed. What draws you back here beyond the empty halls of death? Speak!
The last time we met? I suppose that lends credence to our conversation in the woods. Still, whatever you do, don't tell her why you're here. It's best not to give her any ideas.
I will not tell you.
You will!
Just do it already. It will feel so much better to do as she says.
I'm supposed to end the world.
You weak-willed buffoon.
Is that so?
The princess closes her eyes in contemplation.
Something about that thought wraps itself around my heart. It feels like a fundamental truth to my being that I'd somehow forgotten. The collapse of the old is a necessary prelude to the birth of the new, and the world as it is now is overdue for alterations. It's time for me to seize my destiny, and you, little bird, will help me seize it.
She's inevitable. There's nothing else for us to do but help her. Maybe she'll be nice to us.
What happened to you after I died?
Know the limits of your privilege, little bird. There's an empty place at my side for you to fill, if you'll have it. But it is not a place for an equal. It is a place for something worthy to be kept. A priest, perhaps, or a pet.
I am yours to command. Let's go this way.
Your will was so easily broken. Am I that magnificent? All you need to do now is break my chains.
If this is what you want, then I guess there's not much else for me to say. No, you can't just give in to her. Not when the stakes are so high. Not when you're so close. I won't let you do this.
There's still something in the way. A greasy film inside of you where it doesn't belong, trying to conceal you from me. Is that a person? No, it used to be a person. It's something different now. An echo.
Is she talking about you? That's impossible. She's not supposed to be able to interact with me.
You're a small one, aren't you? A shriveling little worm stretched beyond its limits, trying to control things that it can't understand.
No. What
are you talking about? I'm just...
I don't care what you are. You're mine.
Ah!
Rise, my little bird.
Without hesitation, you're brought to your feet.
Break my chains.
And how are we supposed to do that? All we have is a blade. All you need to do is believe it's been done.
I have to. It's over. I'm sorry. Let's break her chains.
Her chains shatter, and the cuff falls from her wrist. She is loose, and the end is upon us.
What a good disciple you are. Come, it's time for us to leave.
What happens now?
Nothing. And then, everything.
Obedient servant. But you do not take her hand, nor will you ever. It's time to leave. Memory returns.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
Let's go with that one. It's going to be okay.
But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. I don't want to look at us.
It's going to be okay on the other... I see on the other side it's be okay.
Okay. If you say so. We'll trust you. A mercy.
Approach the mirror. Lay at your reflection. Silence, you reach forward, you're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave, but you need to see what's there. You've unravelled. You find yourself in the long quiet once again. You're at the cabin.
There's a world beyond the endless walls of the long quiet. We're supposed to be there. Do you know what we'll find out there?
Is that a rhetorical question? Do you know? Do you want me to tell you? Do you want to tell me? There's trees and stars and there's people, I think. At least that's where are supposed to be people. Do you think that anything is real out there? Do you think that we're real? Let's go, there's trees and stars and there are people. I think at least they're supposed to be people.
There is a warmth and sadness in me at the thought of people. Fresh tears on a winter's day. They are not like us. They do not last.
Do you think there's anything... Do you think anything is real out there? Do you think we're real?
We are real. Nothing is an idea that dwells in the absence of something. But nothing cannot exist on its own. And because of that, nothing can't exist.
Your thoughts on this vessel?
This one is dominance, a figure capable of bending everything to her will. She will make for a terrifying and divine heart. Do not mourn her, for she would not be able to mourn you.
You know what's going to happen when you awake?
If I did, I would already be awake.
When you send me back, I'm not alone. There are voices that speak to me. Some of them are me, but one of them is something else. I call him the narrator, and he wants me to kill you. Do you have a narrator? Have the vessels had one?
No, their thoughts are quiet. Do you think your narrator lives in the spaces beyond?
He does. I don't know why, but I know this for a fact. He does, and I don't know what I'm going to do when I find him. He does, and when I find him, you and I are finally going to have answers. Yeah, that's probably the thing we want.
Do not look to one who fears me for your truth. The only answers worth knowing are those we can find within ourselves.
How many more vessels do I need to bring you?
1. Whatever you bring me next will be enough, and then gravity will pull the others back to me. I will be singular, a final multitude.
If this is the last time, is there anything you would like me to bring you?
These gifts are a conversation, and each one shows me the contours of your heart. The only thing I want to see is what you choose for me when the thread is fully drawn.
If this is the last stage before your completion, then I'm not going back. I'm just going to stay here. I'm ready to go back. The reason I have to be careful with this option, folks, is that some of them basically shut the game down, and then you have to reboot it, which will basically break my recording software, so I have to be really careful about what options I pick. I'm ready to go back.
The next time I see you, each of us will finally know what we are. I will be here, waiting for you.
Everything goes dark and you die. Bring the tower to her.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Let's go with... Let's see. Silently continue to the cabin, yeah.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
Let's go inside.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Take the blade.
You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it.
Enter the basement. One last time.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favour. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Continue down the stairs.
You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
What? No way. I would ever think that. Yeah, okay. You caught me here to slay you. Haven't decided yet. Just here to talk. Steel your nerve and step forward.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
Oh? No talking then? Fine. What even makes you think you can kill me? I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this.
Are you sure she's not armed? Yeah, are you sure she's not armed?
I'm positive. I'm not. But we'll keep our eyes peeled. If she has a weapon, she'll have to draw it before she can use it.
Hesitating? Why don't you drop the knife and the two of us can be civilized with each other?
Slay the princess.
You charge the princess, blade in hand, but unfortunately your earlier suspicions proved correct. A blade of her own slips down her sleeve and catches you in the neck. Blood sprays from the cut, your severed carotid artery painting the princess with strokes of red. You'd better finish your task quickly before you run out of time. With the last bit of your will, you press forward, sinking the blade deep into the princess's heart.
Oh.
The two of you collapse on the floor together, rapidly bleeding out.
Somehow, I thought this would turn out a little differently. But I wonder, do you really think that this was enough to stop me?
It's like she's convinced she can't die. But you don't have time to worry over such things. Everything goes dark, and you die.
The Razor.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
I already slew the princess. Sure, she killed me, but I definitely got her. Why am I here again?
I can assure you that you didn't slay her, and that she didn't kill you. People don't just spring back to life after dying, and the two of us are meeting for the very first time. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
This whole thing's a crock of shit. She's just going to pull a knife out of nowhere and stab us again.
Stabbed to death? Well, you won't have to worry about that. The princess is unarmed.
Yeah, that's exactly what you told us last time. When we asked you if you were sure she didn't have a weapon on her, you said you were positive she didn't. But it turns out she did, because when we charged her, she started stabbing us to death.
Calm down. I assure you she has no weapons, so there's no reason to fear her. You were made for this job. You'll do just fine.
Let's assume I'm telling the truth and all of this really did happen. Why should I listen to you? Why should I... No, we've already done that. Let's just try anyway.
Those are two very different questions, but fine. I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. We did exactly what you said. Sounds to me like you probably had some kind of elaborate nightmare, in which case I shouldn't be held accountable for what supposedly happened. But congratulations, you've been given a chance to actually do this right.
And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything?
If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. We stabbed the princess stabbed us, and now everyone's right back to where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? Had you failed to slay the princess, what would have happened to everyone in the place you left?
Screw this. Who cares what happened to everyone else? She's not going to play fair, so we should do what we can to save ourselves and just get out of here.
At least you know not to trust her, but you do realise that everything and everyone includes you, right? If you turn around and leave, you're dooming yourself as well as everyone else.
She just caught us by surprise last time. She can't do that twice. So long as we're careful, we can win this.
That's the spirit. Just keep that stiff upper lip, and you'll save the world in no time at all.
Let's talk about this princess.
Just be quick about it.
We killed each other the last time around. How can I make sure this doesn't happen again? All she did last time around was stab me to death. How could someone like that end the world? Yeah. We killed each other last time around. How can I make sure that doesn't happen again?
Like I said, if she killed you, it was probably because you didn't listen to me. Don't talk to her, don't trust her, just go in, do your job, and save the world. Oh, and don't get stabbed while you're at it.
Who locked her in the basement? What is this place?
People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. Don't overcomplicate things.
You're being cagey. Why are you not? Aren't you telling me?
I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail would just overcomplicate an otherwise very simple situation and make your job more difficult. You didn't tell us about her knife last time, though.
That's because she's unarmed.
And more than that, it's because there wasn't a last time.
Let's go with this one. Why if the people locked her awake, why can't they slay her? Why does it falling to me?
Look, I'm not supposed to say this, but it's because you're special. You're the only person capable of doing this. Call it a prophecy, if that helps, but it's just the way things are.
Oh, I didn't know we were special.
Of course you're special. Why else would you be here? If anyone's special here, it's her. That was a nasty trick she pulled on us.
That's all.
Great. Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin.
Proceed to the cabin.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
He couldn't be more on the money. But we're really doing this, aren't we? I'd say you're lost, but I'm stuck here with you. We know what to look out for this time. We know to be careful.
Just stay focused and you'll be fine.
Proceed to the cabin.
The interior of the cabin is a jagged mess of warped wood and broken boards, their splintered edges as uninviting as shattered glass. The only furniture of note is a pointed table with a pristine blade perched on its edge.
And that, folks, is where we're going to end it for today. I get the feeling that next episode is probably going to be our last episode. So tune in for the conclusion of Slay the Princess. I've been Cornish-knight. This has been Slay the Princess. And I shall see you all again next time. Goodbye.